Nadia asks her employees in the Davidson jewelry store to clean up. She's expecting a jeweler of great caliber, Abby Vandenbrink. Rosie wakes Abby up from her sleep. Nadia is Abby's boss and is expecting her to bring out a watch she fixed for the Duchess. Abby was up all night, making earrings for herself. Rosie seems confident that Nadia will love Abby's designs once she's in a better mood. Abby helps the Duchess with her watch, which she loves. When the Duchess also admires Abby's earrings, she admits that she made them. Nadia reminds Abby that she needs to credit all the jewels she's wearing to the store whenever anyone compliments them. Nadia agrees to see Abby's designs because her assistant, Rosie, keeps talking her up. Nadia likes her sketches but can't display her work till she makes these pieces. Abby was hoping Nadia would commission her, but she only does it for established designers. Nadia advises Abby to make a name for herself with real designs before she asks for a display. Abby wonders how she'll make a name when no one gives her a chance. Rosie knows Nadia only takes notice when there's a buzz around the designer. Abby can't afford real gems with her salary, and she refuses to use the cheaper stuff. She receives a call from Jules Peters, who works at a bank in Belgium's Antwerp. He has some issues with her grandpa's shop. A lot is owed to the bank, so Abby promises to take care of it. Abby has learned everything about jewelry from her grandparents. She thinks her grandpa might be struggling with the shop after her grandma passed away. She decides to take some days off to help him with the Diamond Festival on Valentine's Day. Rosie also thinks this trip could give her an opportunity to find the gems she needs for her jewelry. Abby arrives in Antwerp and watches Mrs. Reynard struggling to get into Remy & Sons. She offers to fix her ring because the store isn't open yet. She asks Alexander Remy to hold her tools while she fixes the ring on the street. She wonders why the district is more about technology rather than the old-world charm she remembers. Alexander explains that they need to attract future generations. When the ring is fixed perfectly, Abby informs Mrs. Reynard that she can find her at Vandenbrink's. When Alexander's dad, Peter Remy, comes to check what happened, Alexander knows they've lost a customer to their oldest rivals. Abby surprises her grandpa, Laurent Vandenbrink, at the shop. She wants to help and asks what he's struggling with. Laurent has had no help since Abby's mother married a Navy man and isn't interested in jewelry. He's just glad that Abby loves the business and will inherit it. Abby wants to help preserve it while it's with Laurent. Since he's working alone, she plans to clear all the backlog in 2 weeks. She's excited about the upcoming Diamond Festival. She's sure that Laurent's win will help them settle scores with the bank by using the prize money. Laurent is not entering the competition this year, since he is too busy with the shop. He has forgotten lobster clasps for a necklace, so Abby offers to bring them. Abby gets stopped by the guard at the mart since she's new. She's only allowed to enter if Alexander accompanies her. She calls him a hero for saving the day, but he thinks she is the hero of their customer. Abby assures him she wasn't trying to poach his customer. She remembers meeting him at the competition when they were children. He was cheering for his dad, while she cheered for her grandpa. Both their families take great pride in their work and have the biggest rivalry. Alexander points out that his dad has been winning the competition for years. Since Laurent isn't taking part this year, he's sure of their chances. Abby doesn't want to let him win, so she declares that she's entering as a Vandenbrink. Abby doesn't know why she said that, but Laurent is confident in her abilities. Rosie is excited about Abby participating in the competition that Nadia watches every year. Abby starts telling her about Alexander, so Rosie teases her. Now that Abby has entered, she's afraid of humiliating herself. Rosie knows how talented she is and knows she will do well. As Abby tries to ask for fries, Alexander helps her with the pronunciation. She accuses him of sneaking up on her and refuses to show him her designs. Alexander wants to give her tips, but she assumes he's fishing for information. Alexander then tries to make her understand that he's genuinely interested in her more than their rivalry. Abby shares that because her dad was in the Navy, she traveled a lot as a kid. Antwerp is still her favorite place in the world. Alexander knows people don't have the patience now to wait for months for the perfect piece. Peter has taught him that they need to stay relevant. Abby thinks all this rush is missing the passion and attention to detail. It's never been about the profit for her. Abby asks Laurent to accompany her to the festival opening that day. She asks about Alexander, and Laurent knows him as a nice guy with great business sense, but he's not creative. Abby wants to make sure they win the prize money to pay off the bank. The theme for the year is "Home is where the heart is." Abby doesn't know what she wants to do yet. Laurent thinks of home as more of a feeling. For him, her grandma was his home. He asks Abby to dig deeper and find out what home means to her. At the festival opening, they run into Peter and Alexander. Peter thinks it's risky that Laurent is giving his spot to the next generation. Laurent has complete faith in Abby's skills. Peter also brags about Alexander coming up with an original piece for the competition. He seems to have no idea about this, but Peter insists that Alexander is following in his footsteps. When they leave, Alexander reminds Peter that he's not talented like his brother. The contestants are informed that they will be judged based on their sketches and the execution. Jules calls Abby again for the next payment. She doesn't know that they're 5 months past the due date. She still asks for some time to figure this out. Abby finds Alexander struggling with the sketch for the competition. His brother, Matthias, was the creative one. He was supposed to take over the shop, but he moved to Cleveland after falling in love. Alexander knows that Peter is now trying to compensate him. Since Vandenbrinks is struggling, Abby offers to help him find his creativity if he helps her improve their business. They decide to do it secretly because their families can never know. At the shop, Abby promises Laurent that she's coming up with a marketing plan. He invites her for an early dinner, and she remembers him making that dish with her grandma. When she was young, Abby used to play with an uncut rock while they cooked. Laurent hasn't cut it yet because it was his wife's good luck charm. They let Abby play with it because it made her happy. Alexander meets Abby after dinner at the spot where her grandparents got engaged. Her grandma came from money, so their love was forbidden. Laurent was just an aspiring jeweler, so they used to sneak away for a year and meet in secret. Her grandma's parents followed her on the night they got engaged. They had to give their blessings when they saw the love in their eyes. Abby knows this is why Laurent thinks home is a person. Alexander thinks of their shop as his home, even if his dad doesn't accept him completely. Abby knows Vandenbrinks is also more home to her than any other place. Alexander shows her the website he created for her in a day. To thank him, she asks him to meet at the flower market the following day. Abby tries to explain to Alexander that creativity can't be forced. She brings him to the flowers because nature inspires her. She asks him to use a magnifying glass to see the details on the petals. She wants him to do the same with her earrings, whose details aren't visible from afar. Since she finds her creativity by looking beyond the obvious, Alexander also plans to dig deeper. He invites her to the Carrots and Cupids dance, but they're not supposed to be seen together in public. The next morning, Alexander seemed optimistic about his design while submitting the sketch. He asks Abby to meet at Grote Market in an hour. Abby changes her tone when she notices Peter approaching. She makes it seem like they're arguing, which satisfies Peter. At Grote Market, Alexander asks Abby to observe 2 waffle shops that sell the same product. He points out that one of them has a long line of customers while the other is empty. He explains that the successful shop cleans its glass cases every 20 minutes, so the display is more appealing. They also have pictures of waffles and flowers to attract customers. He knows a product doesn't hold value if people don't know it exists. While he feels the Vandenbrinks' legacy is important, she also needs to keep distinguishing herself from the competitors. He still thinks Remy & Sons can never reach the level of Vandenbrinks. He knows it's because Abby is the future of the shop. Abby implements his tips, and they start getting more customers. Laurent feels proud and has a meeting that day. He might not make it to the dance and forget that he volunteered to bake stroopwafels for it. Abby asks him to focus on the business while she takes care of baking. She calls Alexander for help, but they end up burning their waffles. Alexander suggests that they stop by Elson's bakery and get stroopwafels instead. He wonders if they can make their dance date and reminds her that her grandparents also had forbidden love. Abby still thinks they should wait till after the competition, but Alexander knows she will be gone by then. He asks her to be in the moment and not worry. As Abby gets ready for the dance, Rosie informs her that she's coming to Antwerp with Nadia. After seeing Abby on the Jewellery Exchange website, Nadia wants to maximize the publicity by highlighting Abby's participation. Abby reminds her that she's representing Vandenbrinks, but they both know nothing will stop Nadia from promoting Davidson's. Abby shares that she's going to the dance with Alexander, so Rosie also asks her to enjoy and live in the moment. Alexander asks about her relationships, and she admits she almost got married last year. Alexander regrets that he went through with a marriage that didn't last very long. His ex only married him for his money. He asks Abby for a dance since his dad isn't coming. Just when they're about to kiss, Peter and Laurent interrupt them. While Abby insists Alexander is a good person, Peter is worried that she could be using him. They both stand up for each other, but Laurent hopes she's not getting sidetracked from her dream. Alexander also assures Peter that he wouldn't do anything to jeopardize their business. He feels like Peter is putting a lot of pressure on him when he's nothing like Matthias. Laurent takes out some gems from his other designs to help Abby with her bracelet. When she melts gold for it, Laurent suggests taking a walk. Abby got inspired to make the bracelet when she saw the photo of her grandma. Laurent remembered how she always demanded what design she liked, and he made it for her. Abby has also realized that home is Vandenbrinks for her. The shop has always been the only constant in her messy life. Laurent suggests that she can use the prize money to build her own future in Antwerp. As Abby works late at night, she gets a call from Alexander. He's struggling with his piece, so she comes over to his shop to fix the gems. Alexander is working on a ring inspired by his mother's engagement ring. She passed away when he was 6, but he still remembers the way it sparkled. She quickly fixes the diamond, and he kisses her. The next morning, Laurent feels proud of Abby's finished bracelet. Nadia also turns up at the shop and hopes that Abby's piece is good enough to win. Peter is sure that Alexander will win the competition. One of the judges owes him a favor, and he has called it in. Alexander doesn't like that the results are fixed, and that Peter didn't believe in him enough. When Peter insists that he did it for the future of their shop, Alexander walks out. Rosie wants to meet Alexander, but Abby can't find him anywhere. He ignores her messages, so Abby feels sure he's ghosting her. Before the results of the competition are announced, Abby finds out that Alexander has backed out. Abby doesn't win the grand prize, but Laurent is still proud of her. Another audience favorite award is announced, and Abby wins that. The host gives the ring back to Peter, thinking Alexander had a real chance of winning. When Abby asks Peter about Alexander, he claims some mistakes were made. Just when Abby feels disheartened that she didn't win, Nadia comes over to congratulate her. She thinks the audience award is more prestigious than the grand prize because the finest jewelers voted for her. She's getting calls for Abby from all over the place. Abby has created the buzz she wanted, but she's not happy. When Alexander gets back to the store, Peter feels proud that he replicated his mother's ring. He feels bad for underestimating Alexander and loves that his business will go to someone as passionate as him. He also admires everything Alexander has done for them on the business side. Alexander assures Peter that he made him a good man in his mother's absence. Laurent decides to step away from the business a bit because he's getting old. He asks Abby to go back to her life in Chicago and gifts her the rock she used to play with. Abby calls Nadia and Rosie to the store to ask how much the gem is worth. Nadia knows it's going to make her very rich and offers to buy it from her. She also realizes that Abby intends to do her own business. Abby comes to meet Jules to settle all the payments. She loves how welcoming the place has been and is glad she could save the shop. She asks Alexander to meet her on the bridge. He promises to explain what happened later, but assures her that he's on much better terms with his dad. He's glad for all her help and suggests that she should stay back. Abby admits she has already decided to stay and grow Vandenbrink's. Alexander gifts her the ring he made because she helped him find his way. He asks her to use it however she wants and kisses her.